Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The modern world is full of surprises, and sometimes it's hard to know what's going to happen next. In just one day, we go through so many different experiences. Some make us happy, some make us sad, and some make us question who we are. Life throws challenges at us that test our minds and emotions. But when life gets tough, and it feels like the world is trying to shake us up, know that you can rely on the wisdom of the ancient Stoics. It will help you deal with life's problems. Today we'll discuss 8 Stoic lessons for mental toughness. Let's get started. Number 8. Embrace the truth. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Acceptance, in simple terms, means embracing life as it comes, even when things don't go our way. The Stoics, a group of ancient philosophers, had a nifty idea about this called amor fati, which means love of fate. Now, the Stoics were smart. They knew that most of the stuff that goes on in the world is beyond our control. No matter how much we wish, dream, or try, things will happen as they please. They also believed that change is as natural as breathing. It's necessary for us to grow, learn, and even exist. Imagine if nothing ever changed. We'd be stuck in one place forever. So, even though the world can be a bit unpredictable and uncomfortable, the Stoics told us to accept it. They said, hey, this is how the world works, and we can't change that. They even suggested that we should love fate, love the twists and turns life throws at you. Why, you ask? Well, it's because fighting against the way things can lead to frustration, anger, and pain. Instead of complaining and beating ourselves up when things don't go our way, the Stoics said, embrace it and learn from it. See, getting upset won't magically change what happened, but it sure can mess with your mood. Number 7. The dichotomy of control. The most important thing in Stoic philosophy is knowing what we can change and what we can't. It's like when a flight is delayed because of bad weather. No matter how much you yell at the airline people, you can't stop the storm. And wishing won't make you taller or change where you were born. Also, no matter how hard you try, you can't make someone like you. It's like trying to move a brick wall. Impossible. The ancient philosopher Epictetus said in this regard, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own." So, instead of wasting time on things we can't change, we should focus on what we can control. Every day, in tough situations, we should ask ourselves, what can I change here? What's out of my hands? It's like a daily check-in. You can even write it down in a journal and think about it a lot. If you get good at figuring out what's under your control and what's not, you'll be not only happier, but also way ahead of people who keep fighting losing battles. Imagine if you kept trying to move that brick wall while everyone else just walks around it. You'd be exhausted and they'd be on their way. Focus on the things you can control and you'll be a happier and smarter person. Number 6. Follow your moral values. The ancient Stoics had a simple yet powerful belief. Being a good person means doing what's right, and being a bad person means doing what's wrong. They thought that the only real good in life is virtue, which means doing good things. And the only true evil is vice, which means doing bad things. What this means in everyday terms is that we should always try our best to do the right thing, even when we feel like doing something else. It's like when you know you should finish your homework, but you really want to watch TV. The Stoics would say that choosing to do your homework, even when it's tough, is being a good person. In Stoicism, they believed that being happy comes from consistently doing the right thing. They had 4 big virtues they valued: wisdom, making smart choices; courage, being brave; justice, treating others fairly; and discipline, controlling yourself. When we act with these virtues in mind, we're on the path to being happy. But if we do the opposite, like being lazy, taking advantage of others, ignoring what's right, or giving in to our impulses, we'll end up unhappy. So before you make a decision, especially when you're feeling emotional, Ask yourself if it lines up with what you believe is right. If it doesn't match your values, maybe think twice and consider what you'd do if you were being your best self. Number 5, avoid the victim mentality. Always take responsibility for your actions. Don't fall into the trap of asking, "Why me?" when things go wrong. This kind of thinking doesn't help you build mental strength. Sometimes it might not even be your fault, but what's important is to figure out what you can control and take charge of those aspects of your life. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you need to train your mind to approach challenges this way. It's tempting to point fingers at others when something doesn't go as planned. Blaming someone else is the easy way out. But it's the people with mental toughness who can step up, even if they're not the ones to blame, and set things right. Be the kind of person who takes action, not the one who avoids responsibility and blames others. William B. Irvine once said, "If you consider yourself a victim, you're not going to have a good life. If, however, you refuse to think of yourself as a victim, if you refuse to let your inner self be conquered by your external circumstances, you are likely to have a good life." When you play the victim and constantly complain about your situation, you're giving up control and avoiding personal responsibility. Without a sense of ownership, you won't make meaningful progress in your life. So remember, always be ready to take responsibility, even when it's tough, because that's how you grow stronger and make a real difference in your life. You can easily start with taking that responsibility by not missing out on our Stoic content. So before we'll discuss number 4, take that control and subscribe to our channel. Number 4, show up consistently. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today, Seneca. Just keep showing up every day and putting in the effort. It might sound simple, but it works wonders for your mental strength. When you consistently dive into your passion or what you're good at, something amazing happens. You get better at focusing, and you begin to understand that achieving something great isn't a piece of cake. It's a bit of a long and bumpy road, to be honest. You won't see immediate rewards for your hard work. It's like planting seeds that take a while to grow into big, beautiful trees. So don't expect to become a superstar overnight. Building a meaningful life takes time and dedication. To make it happen, you need to figure out what you can keep doing day in and day out without burning out. That's the real secret. You're in it for the long haul, so pick something you're passionate about. Quick successes that happen out of the blue often turn out to be short-lived. They can even mess up who you are as a person. So, it's better to earn your success step by step, one action at a time, and set aside some quality time every day to work on your passion. No interruptions, no excuses. It's like making a promise to yourself and sticking to it. This way, you'll build a strong foundation for a life full of meaning and substance. Keep at it, and you'll get there. Number 3, be prepared mentally. The Stoics had this thing they did called premeditatio malorum, which is just a fancy way of saying thinking about bad stuff before it happens. Basically, they started each day by imagining all the things that could go wrong. Sounds pretty gloomy, right? But there's actually a smart idea behind it. When we think about the bad stuff that might happen, it's like practice for when real problems come our way. Instead of freaking out and falling apart, we're ready to handle things like a champ. We're prepared to deal with problems in a positive way. Some companies are doing something similar at work. They call it a pre-mortem. When they start a new project, the boss asks the team to think about everything that could mess things up. By planning for problems ahead of time, they're better at dealing with them when they pop up. Seneca wisely said in this regard, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden." Now let's talk about personal stuff like your marriage or relationship. We all like to believe our love is special and won't have any issues. But the truth is, lots of relationships hit rough patches, especially when kids come into the picture. So knowing that problems might come along, you can be smart about it. Take steps to prevent issues, like not taking your partner for granted. And when troubles do show up, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be ready to work through them and keep your relationship strong. Whether it's at work or in your personal life, being prepared can make a big difference. Number 2, assess your growth. Within one of the quickest ways to mess up your own progress is by comparing yourself to someone who's on a totally different path. It's like comparing apples to oranges. It just doesn't make sense. Instead, focus on yourself and your own goals. Hold yourself accountable. It might feel awkward, but you need to be honest with yourself. At the end of each day, take a moment to think about the choices you made. Did they align with your values? Did you make rational decisions? It's okay if you don't get everything right. Nobody's perfect. But it's crucial to look back and learn from your actions. So, looking at the famous sayings of Seneca, he stated, "I will keep constant watch over myself and most usefully will put each day up for review. For this is what makes us evil, that none of us looks back upon our own lives. We reflect upon only that which we are about to do, and yet our plans for the future descend from the past." The more you pay attention to your own journey, the better choices you can make, and the easier it becomes to stay on track. You see, it's all about perspective. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you lose sight of your own progress. That's like running a race and constantly looking at the person next to you instead of focusing on the finish line. So, remember, it's okay to stumble and make mistakes along the way. What matters is that you keep learning and growing. By holding yourself accountable and reflecting on your actions, you'll become more in tune with your own progress, and that will lead to better decisions and a clearer perspective on your journey. Number 1. Produce more, use less. We all have the potential to gain some serious superpowers in life, but it's not a cakewalk. It's like immersing yourself in a subject you're passionate about and becoming a real pro at it. But a lot of people can't handle the boredom and hard work that comes with it. They'd rather stick to their daydreams and distractions, never realizing the awesome rewards that come to those who master a skill. Now, think about this. When you're out there, putting your own original work into the world, it takes some mental strength. It's tempting to take the easy way out and let others do the heavy lifting, but isn't that kind of selfish? Depending on others to create art, value, and meaning, so you don't have to take risks yourself. Let us tell you, being a fan of a sports team, a musician, or a TV show, or owning the latest gadgets, that doesn't make you unique. What sets you apart is what you create and share with the world. Turning nothing into something, that's no small feat. It toughens you up and makes you resilient. So don't be afraid of the grind. Dive into your passions, put in the work, and don't rely on others to define who you are. It's what you produce and share with the world that truly defines you. So go on, create something awesome, and watch yourself grow stronger in the process. Practicing Stoicism might not be easy, but it's totally worth it. It takes courage, perseverance, and self-control. These lessons can help you build a strong and virtuous mindset that's all about wisdom and fairness. When you master yourself, you stay calm inside no matter what's happening outside. Face challenges with kindness and strength. Keep your balance, whether things are good or bad. Remember what Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that counts." If you want more wisdom like this, subscribe to our channel now and give this video a thumbs up.